Once upon a time, there was a very old school, and this school was built in the same place as ISV, and this school had a very, very scary past. Nowadays, the school is not there, but ISV is in the same place as the school used to be. This school was a terrible place with terrible teachers of terrible boys and terrible girls and terrible parents and terrible cleaners and scary bus drivers and scary cleaners. Did I say cleaners? Anyway, this school had 1,000 children, and one scary day, in this school full of 1,000 terrible children, with 2,000 terrible parents and about 100 terrible teachers, a little ghost came walking through the door, and all of a sudden the cleaners tried to attack it with their mops and brushes and sweeps and brooms, and the little green ghost ran all the way down the corridor, screaming for help. Help, help, help. I'm a nice ghost, the green little ghost said. And he ran all the way to the bottom of the corridor. And he tried to open the door, but the door was locked. The little green ghost jumped up and grabbed the handle, and he rattled it. He banged on the door. Help! Help! But nobody answered, and the terrible cleaners were getting closer and closer. One of the cleaners had called the terrible principal on her way down, and now the terrible principal had joined the terrible cleaners. And the cleaners had also knocked on some of the teachers' doors. And so now, marching down this long corridor towards this little scared green ghost, were terrible cleaners and terrible teachers and the terrible principal. The ghost tried one last time. He jumped up, and with all his might he rattled on the door. And just before the cleaners were about to kick him and hit him, the door opened and he got through. He turned around and closed the door right behind him, and the teachers were stuck. "Let's go round there," said one of the terrible cleaners, and they went all the way round towards the cafeteria, where the ghost was. Now the ghost was very fast and very quick, and the ghost, the little green ghost, could also turn itself invisible. That's what it did. It turned itself invisible just as the terrible cleaners were walking through the door into the cafeteria. The now invisible ghost ran around behind where the cooks go and the chefs cook the food, and up the stairs to the second floor, and all the way back down the corridor. Nobody could see because he was invisible. And he went down and he tried to get out, but he couldn't. There was some kind of magic spell that the terrible principal had put on the school, which meant the little green ghost could not escape. From that day on, for 100 years, the little green ghost was trying to escape. And not until just recently could it get out. And over the years, this terrible school with terrible teachers and terrible boys and terrible girls came to be closed. And the bulldozers and diggers and everything smashed down this terrible school and made a little park. And it was like that, very nice. But the children didn't want to go there because there was a little green ghost always trying to walk around, but he couldn't get out. Then one day, the builders started to build ISV. And then the building was finished after about 2 years. And as they were building, there was rumours of a little ghost trying to get out. And as the children started to come into this nice new school, nice new boys and nice new girls, kind cleaners and smiling bus drivers, all saw a ghost. But because the ghost was always smiling and they were always smiling, they didn't get scared. But one day, a terrible, terrible thing happened. The principal, the terrible principal of the terrible old school, died. He was 150 years old. And you know what happened? 2 things happened. One good thing and one bad thing. What do you want to hear first? The good one or the bad one? Well, I'll tell you the good news first. When he died, his spell broke and the little green ghost was free to go. He could wander outside the gates of the school and go anywhere he wanted. But the bad thing happened was that the old terrible principal's ghost came back to haunt the school. Well, the little green ghost was very confused as to what to do. Should he go and find a new place to live, or should he stay and protect the nice children from this terrible principal ghost? He did the only thing that was right. He stayed put, for he was the only one that knew this place better than anybody else, and if anybody could protect the new nice children from the terrible old principal ghost, it was this nice little green ghost. So day after day, the little green ghost battled with the terrible old principal's ghost. But day by day, the principal was getting more familiar with the school and more powerful and stronger, until one day the terrible principal ghost beat and kicked the little green nice ghost. And so, this is when the nice new principal picked up the phone and called Ladybug. Because you see, Ladybug used to go to the school that the nice principal used to go to. And so, the principal knew the Ladybug and had a telephone number. So the principal called Ladybug and said, "Can you come and help? Because the little green ghost cannot protect us from the terrible, terrible principal ghost." "I'm coming right now," said Ladybug. And within a minute, she was there. And she was sitting at the desk with the principal, talking about how she could help. Ladybug said, "I can help you, no problem, but I need the help, and I need the power of a nice student that is in the school, because that powerful spell of the student and my abilities plus the little green ghost, all together we can beat this terrible principal ghost." Well, the nice principal thought and thought, and he said, "Well, I would have said Eleanor, but she's not here at the moment. She's back in Korea with a beautiful little sister, having a beautiful young brother. I tell you what, when they come back to school, they would be able to help you, no problem at all. But until then, I think, I've got it. I will call Eleanor's friend, Karen. She will be able to help you, and if she doesn't know, she can call Eleanor, and Eleanor tell her what to do." So the principal and Ladybug went all the way down to the grade 1 classroom and called Karen out. They walked all the way back to the top of the school, and they called the green ghost. And they were all standing on the top of the school, and they made a plan. It was a very cunning plan, and they were making a plan to get rid of the old terrible principal ghost finally and forever. The principal, Ladybug, and Karen waited until all the children had left. All the cleaners had finished cleaning, and they turned off the lights, and the school was dark. They were at the top of the school, and oh, I didn't tell you, it was raining and thunder and lightning. And even though Karen was scared, Ladybug held her hand, and the principal also held her other hand. And the plan was, earlier that day, they had bought a lightning rod and stuck it right at the top of the school. And the lightning rod is like a big metal pole that protects the school or a building when lightning strikes. And so they were standing at the top of the school, and they were calling for the terrible principal ghost. And they were standing there at one side, and the ghost appeared at the other side. And the little green ghost said, "I've got my friends with me now, and you're not going to be able to beat me anymore." Well, the terrible principal ghost got very angry, and his face went red, and he started to walk towards the group. Just then, Ladybug shot her laser right into the clouds and tickled its belly. And as the terrible principal ghost was walking towards the lightning rod, crack! The lightning struck the rod and went down the metal pole and up into the wires and zapped his bum. The terrible principal ghost's eyes popped out of his head and shot off the building. And his bum was burning, and his hair was on fire, and his fingers dropped off. And then he disappeared into a ball of smoke. Poof! Sizzle! And that was the end of the terrible principal ghost. And you see, Ladybug, Karen, and the little green ghost, and the principal could not have done it all by themselves. They had to work together as a team, as one team together, to be able to defeat the terrible, terrible ghost principal. And so the moral of this story is that you have to work together as one team to defeat the terrible things that are out there. The end.